One last thing. Hot girls destroy your life. That's just a fact. It doesn't matter if the hot girl is also a good person. She's a moose. You're a chipmunk. She's just wandering through the forest, oblivious. And she doesn't even know that she stomped on your head.
Here comes another high school film with a title that pretty much tells you what the film is about. And that's Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, directed by Alfonso Gomez Rejon. It has a Letterboxd score of 3.9 out of 5, an IMDb of 7.7 out of 10, a Rotten Tomatoes of 81% fresh, and Metacritic of 74. As for accolades, at Sundance it won the dramatic version of the Grand Jury Prize, and it won the dramatic version of the Audience Award. Alright, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. I gotta be honest, I didn't know much about this movie going in. I see it's really highly rated on both Letterboxd and IMDb. Critic reception was pretty good, so I was expecting a good movie at least, and it might just be one of my favorite films I've seen this year. This was a great movie. Watching this movie was reminiscent of watching Coda, where when I watched Coda, I wasn't expecting much, but really loved the film. It's got this really good mix of humor, warmth, and tragedy, and it's done so incredibly well. There's a bunch of crude humor in the film, and the way that the film treats the three characters in the film, they did it in this way that is not very saccharine, but also not like really dark. That was kind of the problem I had with Easy A, because I would have liked to have some more sincerity in the film. And Me and Earl and the Dying Girl has that sincerity in there, along with the crude humor, along with the dark comedy, and it just all fits incredibly well. I think of any of the performances in the film, Olivia Cooke is really good. I think she's excellent in the film. The other two actors are good as well, but she is just excellent in this. And I've got to admit, the film kind of had me with the film references that this film had. And at first you're watching it, this is kind of dumb, but it's dumb in that perfect way that is both dumb but incredibly funny. There was one reference that was a 2:38 p.m. cowboy. It's so stupid, but it's so funny. I won't spoil much more of the film because I really think if you have not seen this film, you really should. But it just mixes everything so well with the humor and the heartbreak and the bittersweet feeling that you get at the end. And everything in this film just works. I guess the best way to cement my feelings about this film is this. I think it belongs in films like Dazed and Confused, Clueless, and Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and among those as some of the best teen movies ever. This was a fantastic movie. I loved Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. If you have not seen it, you should definitely check it out. Now, in every episode of Watch Rate Heart, I not only give you my opinions of the film I'm watching, I also give you the opinions of the Letterboxd community. A lot of big scores on my friends list when it came to this film. This first one is from Shant. Shant gives it 5 stars out of 5 with a heart. We're starting off big. And Shant says, I was not expecting to like this movie. I've really been wanting to watch it for a while because it seemed like it gave off a Scott Pilgrim vibe in a non-Scott Pilgrim way. That's kind of a good way of putting it, I guess. Thomas Mann and Olivia Cooke really play their part well. Just one last thing I have to get off my chest is that Earl, I never liked Earl. All he cared about is getting them titties. Like, bro, lay off. If you want them that bad, go get them. Don't make someone else go after them if you don't want them. That's not all that Earl is about. I mean, Earl is really the one person in the film that sees both characters for who they are. Actually is the first person that was actually pretty kind to Rachel in the film and treated her with a respect that the main character just was not doing in the beginning. Earl is much more than just them titties guy. This next review is from Horror Warrior 85. Horror Warrior gives it 4.5 stars out of 5, and Horror Warrior says, Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl is a special kind of movie. Brilliantly balanced, most of the time laughing, the rest of the time sobbing. Oh my god, absolutely. Took me ages to get around to watching this and did not disappoint. Horror Warrior is absolutely right. This film just mixes both of them incredibly well. When the laughs come, they are good. When the sad parts start to happen, you really feel it. This one is a positive review, but with some caveat. This one's from Call's Apartment. Call gives it 3.5 stars out of 5, and Call says, awkward high school loser gets forced to make friends with a girl who's got a treatable but serious form of cancer. If you're allergic to sentiment, every gland in your body just went critical. I don't think this movie is that sentimental. Okay, it is at the end, but okay, anyway. But this movie at least tries to find its own way and not turn off that audience. The writer must have had a sticky note on the screen that says, don't do it, because the script takes every possible detour around all the cliches you're expecting, while somehow circumnavigating around back into the beats that'll make you cry anyway. It's clever. It also has a bunch of sweeted low-rent movie remake clips and claymation segments, so it's not twee either. My theory is that Earl only exists because it made the title better than Me and the Dying Girl. Man, you guys are really low on Earl. I liked Earl in this movie. It makes it kind of sound like you guys think he's just a useless character, and I just don't see that. Would I wish he was a little more central in the film? Sure. I don't think he's a throwaway character anyway. And finally, this last review is from Robert Dixon. Robert gives it 4.5 stars out of 5 with a heart. And Robert says, very mature film despite much of its humor pointing otherwise. Yeah, absolutely. This film is actually surprisingly mature even though the humor is pretty crude. Death is universal and everyone deals with it in different ways, but really, death is a celebration of life as well as a celebration of the time we got to know that life. Yeah, that's very well said, actually, Robert. Again, I want to point out, like, the humor, while being crude, still makes the film feel a lot more mature than it really is. So if you're one of those people who look at, oh, this is a teen movie, not for me, and you're an adult, I think you should really give Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl a shot. So in review, I love the mix of humor, warmth, and tragedy in this film. It is done very well. Olivia Cooke gives an excellent performance. I have to admit, I love the film references, and the final scenes are just bittersweet and heartbreaking and incredibly well done. I adored Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, so much so that I think it's one of the best teen dramas that have ever been made. So overall, I'm going to give Me, Earl and the Dying Girl 4.5 stars out of 5 with a heart. A fantastic movie. This is one of those movies where even if you are one of those people who say, if I'm an adult, I don't watch teen movies, I would still say, watch this movie. It is fantastic. You will really like it. I do wonder within myself if I like it a lot more because the main character kind of reminded me of me in a way. Not in like the, okay, maybe a little bit in the antisocialness, but not as bad as him. But just the film references and stuff like that, weird sense of humor. I just clicked with him a lot too, even though he was a jerk. But I really loved Olivia Cooke in this film. She is fantastic. So overall, 4.5 stars out of 5 with a heart for Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. If you like any of the reviewers I've highlighted in this episode, you can check the video description for a link to their Letterboxd profile. Be sure to give them a follow. Let them know that Brad from Watch Rate Heart sent you. You can follow me on Letterboxd and X at Watch Rate Heart. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it and share with your friends. I'm Brad from Watch Rate Heart. Thank you for watching, and remember, we all watch and rate movies, but you give them the heart that makes them live forever.